Imagine a world where words aren't needed to make people laugh, where a single raised eyebrow, a clumsy misstep, or a mischievous grin can spark joy across generations. This is the world of Mr. Bean, a character so universally beloved that he has transcended language, culture, and time. But behind the silent hilarity of Mr. Bean lies the genius of one man, Rowan Atkinson, a comedian who, ironically, once struggled with the very thing that defines most performers, his voice. Rowan Atkinson, the man behind the bumbling yet lovable Mr. Bean, wasn't born with the natural confidence of a star. In fact, as a child, he suffered from a severe speech impediment, a stutter that made public speaking terrifying. He was shy, introverted, and often avoided attention. But what he lacked in words, he made up for with an extraordinary ability to express himself through movement, expression, and impeccable timing. Today, Mr. Bean is a global phenomenon, spawning a live-action series, an animated adaptation, and even blockbuster films. But the journey to that success was anything but easy. How did Rowan Atkinson transform his biggest insecurity into his greatest strength? And what can we learn from his ability to overcome self-doubt and turn silence into an art form? In this video, we'll explore the remarkable story behind Rowan Atkinson and the evolution of Mr. Bean, diving deep into the struggles, the breakthroughs, and the timeless lessons his journey teaches us about resilience, creativity, and the power of embracing who we truly are. Stay with us, because this story is more than just about comedy. It's about turning weaknesses into superpowers. Rowan Atkinson was born on January 6, 1955, in a small town in England. From an early age, he faced challenges that would make most people doubt their future. He had a significant stutter, a struggle that made speaking in front of others incredibly difficult. In school, he was often quiet, preferring to observe rather than participate in conversations. Teachers saw him as shy, and some even doubted whether he could ever thrive in a career that required communication. But there was something else about young Rowan, a sharp mind and an unshakable love for performance. Despite his speech difficulties, he found solace in two things: engineering and comedy. His fascination with mechanics led him to study electrical engineering at Newcastle University and later at Oxford, where he pursued a master's degree. But something unexpected happened at Oxford. He discovered the world of theater and sketch comedy. Atkinson quickly realized that while words were a challenge, expressions, movements, and comedic timing were his true strengths. He started performing silent comedy routines, inspired by greats like Charlie Chaplin and Buster Keaton. His ability to convey humor without words made him stand out. He wasn't just another comedian trying to be funny. He was something entirely different. Then came the first turning point. In 1976, Atkinson performed in a student revue at the Edinburgh Festival Fringe, a hotspot for up-and-coming comedians. His unique style caught the attention of producers, and soon he was on his way to national recognition. But his rise wasn't immediate. In an industry where fast-talking comedians dominated, he struggled to fit in. Despite this, he remained true to his strengths. Over time, he crafted a comedic persona that didn't rely on dialogue, but rather on body language, facial expressions, and perfect comedic timing. This persona would eventually evolve into the legendary character we know today, Mr. Bean. But before Mr. Bean became a household name, Atkinson had to prove himself in the entertainment industry. He worked on BBC sketch shows, including Not the 9 O'Clock News in 1979, where he showcased his sharp wit and versatile acting. His performances earned him fame in Britain, but it wasn't enough. He wanted something bigger, something truly iconic. That moment arrived in 1990 when Atkinson introduced the world to Mr. Bean, a character who would go on to define his legacy. But even then, success wasn't guaranteed. The entertainment industry doubted whether a nearly silent character could capture modern audiences. They were about to be proven very, very wrong. It was New Year's Day in 1990 when the world first met Mr. Bean. Dressed in his signature brown tweed jacket, red tie, and slightly too short trousers, he appeared on television screens for the very first time. An awkward, childlike man navigating everyday life with hilarious, unexpected solutions. But what made Mr. Bean so unique? In a world where comedians relied on fast-paced dialogue, clever punchlines, and witty banter, Rowan Atkinson did something completely different. He barely spoke at all. This was a bold risk, but for Atkinson, it was an intentional and deeply personal choice. He had spent years battling his speech impediment, learning that his strength wasn't in words, but in expression, movement, and timing. Instead of trying to overcome his weakness by forcing himself to talk more, he did the opposite. He embraced silence. The result? Mr. Bean became a universal character. Because there were no complicated dialogues or cultural references, anyone, anywhere in the world could understand and enjoy his humor. From London to Tokyo, New York to Mumbai, people laughed at Mr. Bean's misadventures. Whether it was struggling to get dressed in a mini car, creating a DIY turkey dinner, or getting into trouble at the swimming pool. And the success was instant. The very first episode of Mr. Bean attracted over 18 million viewers in the UK alone. Soon, it spread across Europe, Asia, and beyond. The character transcended language barriers, making people laugh regardless of age or background. But the real turning point came when the live-action show ended in 1995. Instead of letting Mr. Bean fade into history, Atkinson and his team found a way to keep him alive: animation. In 2002, Mr. Bean, the animated series, was launched, bringing the beloved character to a new generation. With the same slapstick humor, exaggerated expressions, and silent charm, the cartoon introduced Mr. Bean to kids who had never seen the original live-action series. The animated show expanded Bean's world, adding new characters, hilarious adventures, and even giving him a permanent companion, his faithful teddy bear, Teddy. This decision proved brilliant. The animated series was a global hit, airing in over 190 countries, and further solidified Mr. Bean as one of the most recognized comedic characters in history. But behind all the success, one important truth remained. Rowan Atkinson had turned his greatest insecurity into his greatest strength. What once made him feel like an outsider, the fear of speaking, the struggle with words, became the very thing that made him legendary. But how did he do it? What mindset allowed him to transform self-doubt into a superpower? And what lessons can we take from his journey? Let's explore that next. It was New Year's Day in 1990 when the world first met Mr. Bean. Dressed in his signature brown tweed jacket, red tie, and slightly too short trousers, he appeared on television screens for the very first time. An awkward, childlike man navigating everyday life with hilarious, unexpected solutions. But what made Mr. Bean so unique? In a world where comedians relied on fast-paced dialogue, clever punchlines, and witty banter, Rowan Atkinson did something completely different. He barely spoke at all. This was a bold risk, but for Atkinson it was an intentional and deeply personal choice. He had spent years battling his speech impediment, learning that his strength wasn't in words, but in expression, movement, and timing. Instead of trying to overcome his weakness by forcing himself to talk more, he did the opposite. He embraced silence. The result? Mr. Bean became a universal character. Because there were no complicated dialogues or cultural references, anyone anywhere in the world could understand and enjoy his humor. From London to Tokyo, New York to Mumbai, people laughed at Mr. Bean's misadventures. Whether it was struggling to get dressed in a mini car, creating a DIY turkey dinner, or getting into trouble at the swimming pool. And the success was instant. The very first episode of Mr. Bean attracted over 18 million viewers in the UK alone. Soon, it spread across Europe, Asia, and beyond. The character transcended language barriers, making people laugh regardless of age or background. But the real turning point came when the live-action show ended in 1995. Instead of letting Mr. Bean fade into history, Atkinson and his team found a way to keep him alive. Animation. Rowan Atkinson's story isn't just one of fame and success. It's a story of overcoming self-doubt, embracing individuality, and turning weaknesses into strengths. His journey teaches us some powerful lessons that we can apply to our own lives, no matter where we are or what challenges we face. 1. Embrace your uniqueness. Atkinson didn't try to be like everyone else. He recognized what made him different and built his entire career around it. Many of us spend too much time trying to fit in, hiding what makes us unique. But the truth is, our uniqueness is our greatest advantage. Whether it's a skill, a personality trait, or even a perceived flaw, lean into it. Ask yourself, what makes me different? How can I turn that into a strength? 2. Don't let fear control you. Imagine if Rowan Atkinson had let his speech impediment hold him back. Imagine if he had told himself, I can't be a performer because I struggle with words. Instead, he found a way to express himself without words, proving that there's always another path to success. We all have fears. Fear of failure, fear of judgment, fear of not being good enough. But the only way to succeed is to take action despite fear. Growth happens when we step outside our comfort zones. 3. Master your craft. Silence the doubters. Atkinson wasn't an overnight success. He studied comedy like a scientist, breaking down what made people laugh. He experimented, failed, refined his skills, and worked tirelessly to perfect his character. Success isn't about talent alone. It's about commitment, practice, and persistence. No matter what field you're in, become a master of your craft. Outwork the competition, keep improving, keep learning, and eventually your work will speak for itself. 4. Simplicity is powerful. Mr. Bean's humor is simple, yet it resonates with millions. In a world that often values complexity, there is great power in simplicity. Whether in creativity, business, or communication, the ability to make something clear, relatable, and universally understood is a rare skill. Think about how you can simplify things in your own life, your goals, your message, your work. Sometimes less is more. 5. Success takes time. Stay patient. Rowan Atkinson spent years refining his comedy before achieving worldwide fame. He didn't rush the process. He trusted his journey and kept moving forward step by step. In today's world, we expect instant results. But true success is a long game. If you're struggling right now, remember, every challenge is shaping you. Keep going. Keep believing. Your moment will come. Rowan Atkinson's journey from a shy, stuttering boy to an international comedy icon is more than just an inspiring story. It's a blueprint for overcoming adversity. He didn't let his speech impediment define him. He didn't try to fit into an industry that favored fast talkers. Instead, he carved his own path, proving that success isn't about conforming. It's about embracing what makes you different. His character, Mr. Bean, became a global sensation because Atkinson understood something powerful. Human emotions transcend language. By focusing on expressions, timing, and pure visual comedy, he created something that resonated with people of all ages, backgrounds, and cultures. His work reminds us that sometimes the simplest things can have the greatest impact. So, what's the takeaway? Your uniqueness is your superpower. Don't hide it, use it. Fear and self-doubt are part of the journey. Push through them. Master your craft. Success doesn't come overnight, but consistency pays off. Simplicity is often the key to greatness. Focus on what truly matters. Patience and persistence lead to success. Keep going, even when the road seems tough. Atkinson's story challenges us to see our struggles differently, not as roadblocks, but as stepping stones. So, what's holding you back? What fear, what doubt, what supposed weakness is stopping you from pursuing your dreams? Remember this, your biggest challenge might just be the thing that makes you legendary. Now it's your turn. What will you do with your story? If you found inspiration in this journey, share your thoughts in the comments below. And don't forget to subscribe for more stories of resilience and triumph. Until next time, keep believing, keep pushing forward, and never underestimate the power of being uniquely you.